Last night, Trump pushed forward an extension of the ceasefire with Iran. Around the globe, there was a sense of relief, financial markets steadied, and then this morning, April 22, 2026, about 15 nautical miles off the coast of Oman, a Revolutionary Guard gunboat suddenly approached a commercial cargo vessel. No warning was given. No radio contact. Nothing at all. It opened fire despite the ceasefire being in effect. The ship's bridge was hit and severely damaged. Crew members were left stunned, and within minutes, the British Maritime and Transport Authority released an emergency alert that quickly spread worldwide. As of this morning, it's dominating every discussion, because this incident brings up a question no one can answer with certainty yet. Is the ceasefire already over? Stay with me. We're going to break everything down. Let's stick strictly to the facts. Verify everything. Cite the sources. Early this Wednesday, April 22nd, the British Maritime Agency UKMTO, the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations, issued official alert number 04126. A commercial cargo vessel had been approached by a gunboat linked to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. There was no warning broadcast over VHF radio frequencies. This is basic maritime procedure, something every vessel is expected to follow before engaging another ship. No signal. No identification. No attempt at communication. The gunboat opened fire instantly. The impact caused serious damage to the cargo ship's bridge. That's the section where officers control and navigate the vessel. Damaging it can make the ship extremely difficult to manage. The positive news is that there were no injuries. Every crew member remains safe. There was no fire, and no significant environmental damage reported. Despite the destruction, the ship managed to continue on its route. But this is where the situation becomes truly striking. This attack happened only hours after Trump confirmed the ceasefire extension. Not days later, just hours. And it's not an isolated case. Since February 28, when the conflict began, UKMTO has recorded at least 33 incidents involving commercial ships in that region. Out of those, 20 were confirmed attacks, while 13 were classified as suspicious activities. What happened this morning now becomes incident number 34, occurring while a ceasefire is officially in place. And this is where the deeper analysis begins, because the key question tonight isn't just, what happened? It's, why now? Why did this occur this morning, mere hours after the truce was extended? There are three possible ways to interpret it. At first glance, it appears to be a calculated act of diplomatic disruption. The Revolutionary Guards may be sending a direct signal to Trump, to the negotiators, and to the global audience. And that signal could be this: the ceasefire is not a facade. As long as the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports continues, commercial ships simply won't move freely through those waters. It becomes a harsh logic of retaliation. You block our ports, we disrupt your shipping lanes. And one detail gives serious weight to this interpretation. The attack happened exactly on the anniversary of the creation of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. April 22nd, their symbolic day. Earlier that same morning, before any shots were fired, the IRGC released an official statement claiming they had reached peak readiness and were prepared to deliver devastating, unimaginable strikes against their crushing, unimaginable blows. Those were their words. On their anniversary. Then just hours later, a gunboat targets a cargo ship. Whether that's coincidence or not is up to you. Another possibility is much simpler and more dangerous. A breakdown in command at the operational level. The captain of the gunboat may have acted independently, without direct authorization from higher command. In wartime conditions, rules of engagement can become blurred. Commanders in the field sometimes take actions their superiors never intended. But even if that's the case, it exposes a deeper issue. If a single gunboat commander can decide on his own to fire on a civilian vessel during an active truce, then any ceasefire at sea becomes meaningless. There's also a third interpretation, one that shifts the focus inward. This could be a signal aimed not at the United States, but at Iran's own leadership. Inside Iran, there's an ongoing divide between those who support negotiating an agreement and those who reject any talks under the pressure of American sanctions. The Revolutionary Guards are firmly in that second group. By launching this attack, they may be sending a message directly to their own moderates. Whatever you negotiate, we will not adjust our actions. If that's the case, then the issue isn't just between Iran and the United States, it's internal. And internal divisions are far harder to resolve through diplomacy. To understand this fully, you have to look at the ceasefire from the very beginning. When the truce was announced in April, it already carried a built-in contradiction. On one side, Trump declared a ceasefire. On the other, the U.S. maintained its naval blockade of Iranian ports. From Iran's perspective, those two positions cannot coexist. You can't call for a ceasefire while continuing to choke off a country's economy by restricting its maritime exports. From Trump's side, the reasoning is clear: maintain pressure. He even stated it publicly on Truth Social, emphasizing the economic toll. According to his claim, Iran was losing hundreds of millions of dollars daily because of the blockade. Around 500 million a day, an unsustainable loss over time. Because of this, since April 8th, the conflict at sea has never truly stopped. It simply evolved. Less visible than airstrikes, but constant. On April 19th, U.S. forces intercepted an Iranian cargo vessel, the Tuska. The destroyer USS Spruance targeted the ship, striking its engine section before American Marines boarded and seized control. Iran immediately condemned the move, calling it maritime piracy. The very next day, April 20th, Trump accused Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, labeling it a clear violation of the ceasefire. Iran, in response, insisted that it is the one facing repeated violations. And now, April 22nd, another attack. This is the reality on the ground. Two opposing blockades, constant accusations from both sides, vessels being seized, others coming under fire, and caught in the middle are 20,000 sailors stuck in the Persian Gulf for weeks. 20,000 people waiting to return home. The United Nations has already issued an emergency appeal on their behalf. What this morning's incident makes clear is that the Revolutionary Guards have either not been ordered to halt their maritime operations, or they've chosen not to follow those orders. And that's a critical problem. Because if Iran's leadership cannot fully control its own naval units, then no agreement on paper can be trusted in practice. From here, three scenarios emerge. First scenario, the incident stays isolated. The ceasefire survives. Iran distances itself from the attack. Trump responds with statements, not military action. Back-channel negotiations quietly resume. The truce endures despite the setback. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Not really. For this to happen, Iran would need to clearly condemn the incident. As of now, no such statement has been issued. Tehran's silence speaks volumes. Second scenario, a prolonged maritime standoff. Both sides continue exactly as they are. The U.S. keeps its blockade. The Revolutionary Guards maintain their harassment tactics. Neither side crosses the threshold that would reignite full-scale conflict, but neither backs down either. This is probably the most realistic short-term outcome. A tense equilibrium, unstable, uncomfortable, but stopping short of major escalation unless something goes wrong. Third scenario. This incident becomes the spark that escalates everything. One possibility is that Trump uses this incident as justification for a military response. He could authorize the U.S. Navy to engage Iranian gunboats approaching commercial vessels. Iran would likely respond, and suddenly, the conflict escalates back into open warfare. Is that about to happen? Probably not. Trump is aiming for a deal, not a full-scale war. But if a future incident leads to American casualties or the sinking of a ship from an allied nation, that calculation could shift instantly. What this attack shows tonight is a reality many still hesitate to accept. At sea, the ceasefire never truly existed. It may have existed in official statements, in posts on Truth Social, but in the waters of the Gulf of Oman, hostilities never actually stopped. Instead, the conflict has evolved. Less visible, more precise, but still ongoing. And every new incident like the one this morning, even without casualties, increases pressure. Pressure on Trump, on Iranian leadership, on global markets, and ultimately on energy prices you feel every time you fill your tank, Because the Strait of Hormuz carries roughly 20% of the world's oil and natural gas. What happens in that narrow passage affects daily life far beyond the region. The next few hours will be critical. Iran's response, or silence, will matter. Trump's reaction will matter. And the current state of negotiations, which are effectively frozen, will matter just as much. One thing is clear: this conflict is nowhere near finished. Now I want to hear from you. After everything we've just broken down, do you believe this ceasefire can still hold, or is it already finished in reality, even if no one has officially declared it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them and responding. If you want updates the moment Iran issues an official response, let me know. I'll keep you posted. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Take care, and I'll see you very soon.